Welcome to another episode of the Almost Daily Zencast. I'm your humble host, the incorrigible Mr. Zeppo. Today I have a special treat for you, my friends. Out of the blue, our very first guest appearance on any of the podcast projects that I haphazardly put together every other week or so. Today I bring you the tea episode with Lex Rudd. Talented and remarkably funny. Lex creates magic puppets and other theatrical effects and special effects for cinema. And I had the honor and pleasure of traveling to her Forest Mountain workshop for a spot of tea and a chat about silly things, as well as some other discussions about theater-related shenanigans, which may turn up in future episodes. But for now, just enjoy the absurdity of this delightful conversation and get into some tea, because it's pretty yummy stuff. So, without much preamble, I've long wanted to ask you a really nerdy question.
Okay.
As a tea expert, because I know you just kind of excuse yourself as not being one, but before we started rolling, and but compared to me, you are a profoundly expert tea person, where I am not.
I have drunk the gallons, yes. And gallons and gallons.
I like tea, but twice now, on different occasions, I've had an extremely unusual experience with tea, and that's that. And now I might be crazy. I might be totally crazy.
Duly noted.
Yeah, thank you. But most recently, I remember going, I sort of want tea instead of coffee because I'm a coffee addict. And I was like, I know I've got some tea around here somewhere. It might not be freshest ever, but it should be in a nice tin. Comes in a little condom package. Should be nice, right? Should be okay. It should be drinkable. I found and I was looking for the most interesting thing, because there was a lot of boring stuff, and I was like, oh, there's one interesting weird red packet with great graphics and a weird name I can't remember, and I'm like, this will be neat. I brewed some water, I put some tea in it, I drank it. I was minding my own business, watching some TV, bit of news, bit of internet. Next thing I know, I felt like it was 2 a.m, and I'd been drinking for 11 hours, and I needed to vomit my brains out. And mind you, it's like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I haven't touched anything to drink besides the tea. And I just went and just like yacked very uncomfortably for a long period of time. And then did not finish drinking that cup of tea. Is that something that's possible? Can tea be like have gone bad, really bad, and make you puke?
I don't know. I mean, all tea is are kind of dried bits of leaves and stuff in
It's
a
potpourri.
bag.
It's potpourri.
Yeah, in a bag. So it's never happened to me. But at the same time, I don't know. Like my parents came out to visit LA just a few weeks ago, and they were telling me like they need their tea, and they were looking for the PG tips, and they were
the PG tips.
PG tip. That's like the brand, the make of tea that I typically drink the most.
It's like a well-known common brand of tea.
Yeah, it's like the most common brand in all of England.
Does England know that sounds like a porn title? PG tips. That sounds like some kind of porn series. PG tips, volume 12.
The tips of the tea. Put it in you.
Sorry for that. But yes, something like that, right? Like we should do a whole skit about that.
So they're looking for their porn tea. And they were in this lovely little Airbnb place. And the guy was like, "Oh, I've got tea. It's okay." And he had some PG tips, and they made a cup, and because they know the taste, like they had a sip, and they were like, "What the hell?" And they put it back down, and yeah, it turned out like this tea had been there for like 15 years or something, just kind of sitting in this cupboard. And some of their other teas were newer, but they had this like little pristine collection that they just bring out for the British people, of which like there's hardly ever any.
Right. And thus no one had ever drank it.
The oldest tea like ever. So like they could taste that it was wrong, and they did not continue drinking it, for they were aware.
At the first sip, right?
Yeah, they're just like, oh no, what's going on? And then like to pull the box out and look at the date, and they're like, guess what? They fed us old poison tea. And then the shop right down the road had real tea and biscuits as well, so that was awesome.
Oh, that's brilliant.
So good tea can go bad.
Yeah, good tea can go bad.
But I've had tea sitting there for kind of definitely months and months on end, and it just comes in, like PG Tips just comes in a cardboard box, and you kind of rip open the flap on top, and they're not in little individual sealed things. They're just like pyramid bags that just sit in there. And I put a bunch of them in my tins, but then I leave the main ones just sitting in the cardboard box with the lid closed, but it's just in the, and they're fine.
It's not like vacuum sealed or anything.
No, they're just sitting in a box. And they're okay.
All right.
They're still all right.
So, I mean, they last long. They last a long time.
Yeah.
But something funky can happen, and they can go off, and like maybe they get like a growth or a moldy thing or something.
I mean, maybe it could get a bit damp, get moldy. Who knows?
Because twice. Not, this most recent example has just happened to me in this new house. But you're
pulling tea out of nowhere, right? It's not like you just bought a thing. You're just
right.
like you're rummaging, and you're like, let me find a tea bag. Oh, yes. This one's behind the sink. This looks great. Let's do it.
Kinda. It was never behind the sink or whatnot, but there have always been in my life people around me who like tea, and people who give tea as like it's an easy gift. Like, oh, here's a little bit of tea.
Yeah. It's better than like, here's a box of cheap chocolates. Here's the 7 chocolates in a big box.
Big box, 7 chocolates, lots of plastic wrap.
It's so dry, most of them. It's great.
And complained about it the whole way.
I know.
Like every time.
Totally awesome.
He's brilliant. I would love to have him on the show, actually. I'm sure I'll have to have a conversation with him. But thank you for sort of almost kind of confirming.
Who knows?
You're as a tea expert, you're at least acknowledging that odds are I'm not crazy and that I wasn't drunk. And that
I don't want to be the one to be on tape saying that you're not crazy. Like I'm not that person. You can't trick me.
Right. You're absolutely right. I don't want to make such grandiose statements. I just mean to say that the concept that
it could happen. It could happen.
A tea that could go that bad.
I would assume. Yeah.
I mean,
and keep in mind as well. Like, so I'm British. When we talk about tea, anything herbal doesn't count. That's herbal tea. When British people talk about tea, we talk about pretty much black tea with like milk and sugar, milk and honey.
You guys are very plant racist.
We are tea specific.
You're tea specific.
Only the very tips in us. Yep.
Some sort of tea tip supremacy is going on in England. I think they put any old shit in a bag here in the States and call it tea, quite frankly.
Well, tea over here is really weak as hell. Like, if you get Lipton or, like, half the other bags, like, what bugs me is you go to, like, you know, these... If you get to a posh tea place, you know, you got your coffee place and they have some posh tea. And they've got these, like, elaborate bags that are all kind of, like, folded up and all the tea comes out everywhere in your cup, or whatever. And you put it in... So, first of all, Americans don't understand boiling water on the tea bag. So they give you, like, this lukewarm water, which has been sitting there for ages... And then they put the tea bag in afterwards, so it's having this little, like, bath, and it sucks, and nothing's happening. And then sometimes they're like, you know, like, we'll give you a big cup. You can pay extra for the water, because we're not giving you any more bags. But, like, here's a big cup. So you get the big cup, and they put the one special bag in it, or even just one of the normal bags. And the tea is so weak. It's just, like, this weird, muddy kind of horror. Yeah. And, I was up visiting a friend in Washington State a while ago, and it was this nice place, and they had special, you know, this is what I'm referring to, like special tea bag, and they gave it to me, this big cup, and it was literally just slightly flavoured water, and it was disgusting. But I had to go back there the next day to do some work. I was working on some toy design stuff while I was up there. And I go in there the next day, and they're like, would you like a big cup again? I was like, no, give me a tiny small cup, because your tea is so weak, I can't possibly drink it.
And could you maybe boil the water, please?
And could you boil the water, yeah. And then the guy was like, oh, I'm sorry, and gave me 2 tea bags in the big cup. And it still wasn't enough. It was still just like... So at least the PG Tips is like... It's in these little pyramid bags, which supposedly makes it move around more, but who knows. But at least it's a strong tea. Mm-hmm. It's a strong black tea.
And it's just the tips.
That's the marketing, yeah. It's the tips of the leaves.
Tips of the leaves. It's the most potent.
It's the younger... But, I mean, PG Tips will have... they do, like, the pillowcase of tea. And they're like the individual bags, but it comes in like a pillowcase. But they're the weaker ones. Like they're the ones like if you're doing like massive catering.
Right.
But yeah, then because I was going to bring one of those back, I was like, I'll put a pillowcase of tea in my luggage, and it's going to be the best thing ever. I'll come out of the airport, have a pillowcase of tea, and then my friends who actually do catering said, don't get the pillowcase, just get a big box because the pillowcase is just weak and you'll hate it. I was like, okay, no, I know.
Whoa.
So. But anyway, yeah, so we're very black tea specific. So when I first came out here and I'm like, cup of tea, and they bring this like box out, I didn't even know that I was looking for a black tea. I didn't know the difference. It's like black tea, white tea, red tea, and all these herbal teas. And I was like, I just want tea. Which one do I put milk with? I don't understand. And it took me a little bit of working it out to be like, oh, it's a black tea. Okay, so usually I just go in like English breakfast tea. And it's like, that's a black tea, it's fine. But yeah. Or one of the places, the place in Forestville that does tea, the little coffee shop.
Yeah.
The only tea bag they had coconut in it. It's like, here's your coconut black tea. And it's like, I just want tea. Like, why can't I have, like, what's this stuff in it? Why does it taste funny? What's going on? It's like, oh, coconut. It's like, can I have the not coconut one? No.
There's only coconut.
So I kind of stopped going there. Now they're under new ownership, so I go back.
Write a sternly worded but supportive letter, encouraging them strongly.
They sold it. New owners. But yes.
Well, the new people, send them the letter.
Oh, they've got tea that doesn't have coconut in there.
Okay.
They changed.
But is it still kind of weak, yucky, not very great tea?
Most everywhere is like that. I don't know. Some of them, like if you go and get like your Twinings or one of them, they're okay. Like,
what's the best tea, like in your mind, as a gorgeous redheaded British lady who loves tea? What's the best tea?
No, I don't know.
The world will follow in your footsteps.
No, they won't, because I just drink PG Tips, which is what they call builder's tea. That's all the builders of their book are showing. Like, it's just like, I want it strong, I want it a bit of milk, bit of sugar, that's it, lovely job, done. You know, I'm drinking, like, this is the most common tea in England. This isn't like, I'll get a special one. It's like that, common, boring.
Right. But see, that's the way it works here in America. If you want Americans to get on board the tea phenomena and really experience tea as it ought to be, then that'd be appealing. Like, Trump would drink that tea, I'd imagine. I mean, especially if he did.
It's not rich enough for him. He's been little gold bags.
Yes, with some sort of gold accent, and then it'll sell.
It's the best tea.
All right. Socially speaking, then, just sort of in London and if I were to go there and take a survey, what do you think would be considered the best or the most famous, the most well-known tea?
The most well-known is PG Tips.
Okay, so we got that. What's the most elite?
Yorkshire Gold. I mean, I'm just talking about the generic ones, but Yorkshire Gold's nice. There's Barry's tea. I don't know why it's called Barry's tea. That one's alright as well.
Probably some chap named Barry, yes? No?
Yeah, he's got this little stockpile of tea, kind of let's little box out once and again. I don't know. It's Barry's tea. I can only say it in that voice in my head. It's Barry's tea, so it's Barry's tea.
No offense if Barry's listening.
Sorry, Barry. Yeah.
What are the elite teas? You must know of some.
No, I have no idea. I just drink PG Tips in England.
You don't have any posh friends that'd be like, have you over and then serve you some
some of them are going to the Twinings and stuff. You know, they're all into that kind of stuff. So.
But there is a sort of just like there's wine, there must be sort of elite level of cottage.
No, you just want your tea.
No one does that. There's none of that. No.
In my little, I'm lower middle class, mate. We're working class. I don't know.
Fair enough. I imagine there must be, right? Because somebody's selling coffee that's been.
Just go to Harrods and get PG Tips in a special. Get one of those keep calm and carry on tins and put some tea in it. There you go.
Yes,
posh tea. It's good enough.
Sounds lovely.
Yeah, just know that herbal tea is a whole other animal. Like,
and
if you go up to a British person and be like, you can have some tea. Who was it? One of my British friends was telling me they went to some American thing and it was like, oh, we've got English tea and crumpets or something, English tea and scones, and they go there and they hand them a selection of herbal teas and they were just like, what is this? Do not advertise this as British tea if you don't even have any tea.
Chamomile is not British tea. No. None of it is. None of those.
It's herbal tea. That's fine. You're allowed to drink herbal tea. That's okay, but don't call it tea if you got a British person in the morning like wanting their caffeine.
Right.
Oh, they'll kill you.
Yeah.
Very politely, but they'll kill you.
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah. No, there we go. So, yeah, you're crazy, but you may have been poisoned by tea. That is my summary.
So it's possible.
It's possible.
It is possible. Good. I'm relieved, honestly, coming full circle to the question at hand, the sort of focal point. I'm truly relieved that is not just some crazy thing that happened that is impossible, and that people be like, nah, couldn't have been, yeah, it's you were sick. No, I'm glad, because it's not to offend any tea manufacturers, but that means, A, there's work to be done yet.
Don't get on the wrong side of big tea. Yeah.
Don't get on the wrong side of big tea. I do not want... I'd love a big tea endorsement. I want to be the first podcast endorsed by, insert name here, Big T, whoever they are.
PG Tips are like, well, if you hadn't made the sexual reference, get called as porn star tea.
Don't they want to be sexy and hip? For America only, this will be just...
They advertise with monkeys. So, you know, like gorillas. That's kind of their thing.
Is it gorillas drinking tea?
Oh, no, it was chimpanzees originally.
Chimpanzees drinking tea.
And then it kind of got to this, like, knitted gorilla. Maybe you're supposed to be a chimpanzee, but I don't know. But yeah, it's like, so it's sexy chimpanzees, like, moving pianos was the thing. So I don't think they're going for the sexy vote, but you never know.
Well, you know, I'm proposing a whole separate, like, American movement. And that requires all its own new... We got to remake that monkey, chimpanzee, piano moving, just the tips commercial. Maybe with less monkeys. Maybe with more something else. Hot Irish girls pushing pianos around. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense because they're Irish, but it doesn't matter here in America.
That's not sexy to me, though.
No, I know. I'm not pitching it to you. I'm pitching it to Americans.
Oh, okay.
You're like, you would be, like, if we did this, you'd be like the authoritative voice of like, nope, this is how it really is and how it's really actually done. And then I'd be like, oh, cool, we take a little bit of that and mush it in with what the Americans thinks is sexy. And then we spit out a whole new thing. Right? Otherwise, Americans would be like, don't understand. It's too British. Can't they just do it in American?
Yeah, why don't they just remake it American? And I can understand what the hell they're saying, those funny British people.
Precisely.
I can say that because I'm an American.
Right. I can say that because I'm a citizen of the world.
There you go.
Yes. No, I'm a robot from the future, and fuck all.
I'm a werewolf. All
So,
right.
the public service announcement portion of this episode is, folks, check your tea bags. It's a bit like rubbers, to say it the American way. If they're way past their date, might not be a good idea to use them.
Don't want to get pregnant by tea.
Don't want to get pregnant by tea.
Sexy
Don't
tea.
want to accidentally brew your condom into your morning breakfast. I had to flip it over because you said
reaching, but
too
good.
far. No, but the genuine warning and pleasant reminder for my audience is, if you've got either tea or condoms laying around, check the date.
Yeah.
If they're too old, chuck them. Go invest in the economy. Buy a few more.
Okay, that sounds good.
Because you don't want to get your girlfriend pregnant, and you don't want to puke your brains out from nasty tea. That's it. Thanks for listening. Gonna wrap it up now. Tune in for another episode of Insert Name of Podcast here, because I haven't decided on a title. And that, my friends, was my conversation with the illustrious, incredibly talented, charming, and quite funny Lex Rudd. I must say, I don't think I have laughed as much, as hard, per hour as the time I spent getting to know Lex and the lovely neighborhood she lives in. Good times all the way around. I look forward to more such conversations. She might be coming back on the show on a semi-regular basis. Sounds like fun, right? Couldn't hurt ratings. I think everything sells better in America if one of the three people talking is a sexy British person. So check that off the list. Okay, no, my deep, humble appreciation to Lex and her gang of friends that I got introduced to. Good times to everybody. Say hello. Much love to you. And of course, on a somber note, not to go all Debbie Downer, continued love and support for everybody who was affected, impacted by the fires up in Sonoma County. Spending time up there, I got to personally see some, not all, because there's still areas you can't even you're not even allowed to drive into because there's nothing to drive to. But I wanted to express that. I wanted to share also that it is really strong. It was really palpable and obvious to me during my time there that there's a lot of love. There's a lot of community strong. There's a lot of Sonoma County strong love and a lot of gratitude for the first responders and everybody, professional, amateur, that helped during that crisis. And technically that crisis is not over, folks. So if you can help in any way, physically, emotionally, spiritually, please see if you can find a way to help, even if it's just remotely, because people that are there are going through some tough times. So sending that whole county lots of love and lots of gratitude and lots of thank you very much for the amazing hospitality. And I look forward to returning in the not-too-distant future, hopefully to do some really awesome sounding collaboration on puppet construction and even mask stuff. For those of you listening who do not know or don't remember, I am a theater nerd and kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to theater. And one of my niche sort of favorite things as far as performance and technique and technical work is mask construction. I've got a couple of friends out there in the theatrical mask construction world, and Lex is it's awesome to have Lex as a new one in that department. Check her out, you guys. She makes great puppets. She made an appearance on a reality TV show whose name I can't remember, but I will look it up and do a follow-up on that in a future episode. But just hit her up on Facebook. Visit her shop on her website, because she sells puppets, handmade toys, and other interesting and silly things. Right. Okay, so today's episode was purely about the absurdism and the fun and the silliness about tea and American culture and British culture, and just a little, weirdo look at that. I'm going to be taking a few days off, like I always do, after a couple episodes, and getting organized. I'm excited to announce that I'm going to be on Lex's suggestion, actually, which is quite the clever individual, quite a smart and forward-thinking human being. But I digress. She made a really, I think, astute and intelligent suggestion about the way I organize the different segments of my show, and I'm going to be sort of rebooting a little bit, so I'm going to be taking some time off to prepare for that. But no worries, more episodes are coming. I've got some backlog of some things I recorded offline, etc., etc. Until next time, my friends, may peace, love, and grooviness blossom in your heart, and remember to be good human beings to yourselves and each other. As always, thanks for listening. Namaste, my friends. Gonna put the music on to outro the show. The Almost Daily Zencast is a production of SeaTag Studios.